All right, so today we're diving into something pretty interesting, something that might make you rethink a few things. We're talking about smoking and whether it actually helps with anxiety like a lot of people think.
Yeah, it's kind of counterintuitive, right? I mean, most people associate like lighting up with chilling out.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're always seeing people take a drag and just seem instantly calmer.
Right, exactly. So we're going to unpack all that today.
We're using this video, it's by Mind Your Anxiety Jr., called I Smoking Good for Anxiety. And let me tell you, this video goes deep.
It does. It gets into like brain chemistry, habits, even social influences.
Yeah.
A lot more to it than you'd think.
Way more. Okay, so to kick things off, in the video they talk about this relaxation myth. What's that all about?
Okay, so nicotine, it messes with your brain's reward system. Like you get this almost like a sugar rush, but not with sugar, obviously.
Right, so instead of a cookie.
Cigarette. But it's giving you that hit of dopamine, making you crave more and more.
Oh, so your brain's basically like, ooh, give me more of that.
Exactly. And here's the thing. While that's happening, while you're getting that reward buzz, your anxiety levels, they might actually be increasing in the background.
Whoa, sneaky. So it's like a temporary fix with a hidden cost.
100%. Think of it like this. It's like you're borrowing from a loan shark.
Yeah.
You get that quick cash, that instant gratification. You feel good for a little bit. But that debt, it's coming due. And with some hefty interest. And in this case, the interest is, yep, you guessed it, more anxiety down the line.
Okay, so not a great deal.
Yeah.
It's like you're not even really feeling good. You're just avoiding feeling bad. Kind of makes things worse.
Exactly. And this is where it gets even more interesting. This video pointed out something super important. Statistically, smokers are way more likely to be dealing with like depression and other mental health struggles.
So you're saying it's not just a simple equation like cigarette equals instant chill.
It's way more complex than that. We can't just say, oh, smoking causes these things. There's a lot of other factors involved, right? But here's what we do know for sure, smoking. It definitely doesn't help your mental state. And if anything, it might actually make things worse.
Wow. Okay. So if anyone out there is listening and you're dealing with anxiety and you smoke, this is definitely something to really pay attention to.
Definitely. That connection between your cigarettes and how you're feeling mentally, it's way deeper than most people think.
So we've talked about how lighting up might not actually be the best way to deal with anxiety, which, yeah, can be a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, no one wants to hear that their coping mechanism is actually working against them.
Right. But this video, it doesn't just leave us hanging, does it? They talk about quitting, too. And,
Quitting, right.
which, let's face it, that can sound kind of terrifying.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Quitting any addiction is tough, you know? But when you're talking about something that's so tied up with how you deal with stress, with feeling anxious, it's a whole other level.
Makes sense.
But here's the good news. There's actual research showing that quitting smoking can lead to, seriously positive changes in how you feel mentally.
Yeah, the video even mentions some specifics like less anxiety, a brighter outlook overall, maybe even needing a lower dose of medication. Although, obviously, talk to your doctor before making any changes there.
Of course, of course. But it's true. Quitting can have some pretty amazing ripple effects.
That's encouraging.
It is, but, and this is a big but, this video really stressed that it's not about willpower alone.
Right, you can't just will yourself to stop and expect it to magically happen overnight.
Exactly. It's a journey. It's like, imagine training for a marathon, right?
Yeah.
You don't just wake up one day and run 26 miles. You need a plan, the right gear, support.
You need your cheer squad.
Exactly. It's the same with quitting. Therapy can be huge, maybe some medication, even just having a solid group of people who get it.
So it's like putting together your personalized quit kit. And just like any good kit, what works for one person might not be right for another.
100%. There's no one-size-fits-all solution here. This isn't a one weird trick situation. It's about figuring out what works for you. And one thing that really stuck with me from this video was the idea of identifying your personal smoking triggers.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
So you know how certain things just make you crave the cigarette? It's 4 p.m., you're slammed at work, boom, the craving hits.
Oh, or you're out with friends and everyone else is smoking, so.
Right, exactly. So figuring out those triggers, that's like having a secret weapon. Because then instead of just going on autopilot and lighting up, you can be like, hold up, I know this feeling, time to go for a walk. Or, I don't know, call my grandma, whatever healthy swap I've got in my back pocket.
So it's about being prepared, having a plan. I like it. But what about those withdrawal symptoms everyone talks about?
Oh, yeah, that's real. Your body's going to go through it a bit.
Like what kind of stuff?
Well, you might get some cravings, obviously. Maybe some irritability, trouble sleeping. It's like your brain is throwing a tantrum because it's not getting its usual nicotine fix.
Sounds fun.
The good news is it's temporary. Like all tantrums, it passes. But in the meantime, there are ways to make it easier, right? Support groups, some deep breathing exercises, maybe even talking to your doctor about medication. But here's the crucial thing. You don't have to do this alone. Lean on your people, celebrate the wins, big or small, and give yourself grace for the slip-ups.
Because they happen. It's like you wouldn't give up on running a marathon just because you tripped once.
Right, exactly. It's about getting back up, dusting yourself off, and remembering why you started this whole journey in the first place.
So instead of thinking of it like you're giving something up, it's more like trading up, right?
Totally. And it's not just about being smoke-free either. It's like this weight gets lifted, Better sleep, more energy. You even think more clearly. And get this, your relationships can actually get better too.
Wow, that's huge. Okay, so let's bring it back to where we started. Remember that question about smoking being good for anxiety? I feel like this Mind Your Anxiety Junior video just totally debunked that, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it might seem like a quick fix in the moment, but really it's like you're just making those anxious feelings even stronger in the long run. And then, of course, you feel worse, so you smoke more to try and feel better, but that just makes the anxiety worse. It's a vicious cycle.
It really is. It's like our brains are tricking us into wanting that immediate reward, even when it's not actually good for us.
Exactly. We're wired for that instant gratification. But here's the cool part. We don't have to be controlled by it. We can actually choose to change those patterns.
And part of that is like understanding what actually makes us feel good in a lasting way.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, it's not cigarettes.
Right. It's about getting to the root of the issue, not just covering it up with something that ultimately makes things worse.
So if you're listening to this and relating to that feeling of being stuck in this cycle of smoking and anxiety, first of all, you're not alone. And second, there is so much support out there.
Seriously. And there are so many different options these days. Doctors, therapists, support groups, even medication. Whatever works best for you. There's no right or wrong way to do this.
Exactly. The most important thing is that you don't try to go through it alone. And the best part is, you come out on the other side healthier and happier.
It's true. This whole conversation has really highlighted something so important to me. We all have this incredible capacity for growth and change. We can become the best versions of ourselves.
And sometimes that means letting go of old habits even if they feel comfortable so we can embrace a brighter future.
Absolutely. It's like stepping out of the darkness and into the light.
Well said. So that wraps up our deep dive into smoking and anxiety. We got into the science, busted some myths, and hopefully gave you some helpful things to think about.
It's been a great conversation, and I think our listeners have a lot to reflect on after this one.
For sure. And remember, knowledge is power. So never stop asking questions, looking for reliable information, and exploring the world around you and the world within you. Until next time, happy diving.